I'm back here in Premiere and I'm working on a project called Golf. And in just quickly scrubbing through this video, we've got a nice little rolling golf ball. And then after that, we've got somebody holding a golf club. And I'm just going to pause this for a minute because obviously this gentleman needs a better looking hat. The good news is I have found him a hat. Now I only have one sample color of this hat. So we're going to do a little color correction on this hat just to maybe change colors a little bit to give it a different look. So with this, I've got this picture selected in the timeline, and I'm going to first create a little space here in the project bin on the left, just so we can see some more of these tabs. So I'm going to move this around a little bit, and I'm going to look for effects. Now, as we go through this, a little test tip here. Understand that you do not need to be an expert on every single effect in order to pass this Premiere exam. You do need, however, to be able to do two things. Number one, find an effect. And then number two, customize it. So here we go. First thing, I'm going to look at effects here, and I'm going to do a search for color. So I'm going to click in the search box. I'm going to type color here. We have a couple that we can try here. The first one that I'm going to look at is one called auto color. So I'm going to take this auto color effect. I'm going to drag this on top of the hat image. And then here, let's just expand this a little bit so we can see things. Under the auto color, we can make a couple of changes here. So for example, I can change the smoothing a little bit, and that didn't have really much of an effect on this particular picture. So while auto color is probably good for video, it's probably not doing much for this still image. So let's try something else. Now, if you recall, the easiest way to get rid of an effect is to click on it and then just press delete on the keyboard, and that effect will be gone. So what else can we try here? Well, under color correction, we also have the RGB color corrector. I'm going to drag this in on the image. And then let's see what we've got for options here. Let's see what happens if I change the gamma a little bit. Still not that much of an effect on the picture. So let's try a different one. Oh, here we go. Look at that. It took a little bit of time. It just had to render a bit, but made the hat a little bit darker. Now I made some changes and now it's a little bit lighter. Still, it's probably not the best type of color correction for this, so we're going to get rid of this as well. For another example of a color correct, let me go back to the city project that we were working on earlier. So I'll just go to File. I'll go to Open Recent. I'll click City. I'll save the changes to this golf project. We'll get back to the hat a little bit later. And in this particular video, we have this pillar. And this whole clip is quite red. So we're going to use something called RGB Curves to make a little bit of a change on this clip. So again, let me create a little bit of room here. I'll go to Effects. So I'm going to look for RGB Curves. And I just typed RGB and it's there under color correction. So I'm going to take RGB Curves. Now remember, you have a couple of different ways in which you can put an effect on a clip. Notice I've got the clip selected here. And watch what happens when I double click RGB Curves. It actually takes and adds that effect to this particular clip. Remember, you can also drag the effect on top of the clip. But with that in, now I'm going to click Effect Controls. And here's the RGB Curves. Let me scroll down a little bit so you can really see this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take and I'm going to lower the reds a little bit. And notice that as soon as I do that, the picture turns quite a bit more green. You can see the trees a lot better here. And the red is not as prominent in this brick and these stairs that we see leading up to the pillar. Now maybe I really want to enhance that green a little bit more. Some people might think this is too much. I happen to like green, so I think this is pretty good here. I'm also going to up the blues just a little to create a little bit more of a later in the day effect on this video, and I've done that. You have multiple options here for adjusting these different curves, so I'm just going to exaggerate this a little bit. Now this is way too much. Now this looks like, well, nothing good. So I'm going to undo this particular change. But the point is you have a lot of different ways to do color correction, not only on still images, but also video clips. For the exam, just make sure you can find these and follow solid directions on changes that you might need to make to settings. Once you get past the exam, have fun with this. Take the time to experiment with these color correction settings of different kinds, and you're really going to make those colors pop in your digital videos.